Hi, welcome to part 3 of our haunted house build. We'll cover some of the things that we've done to put the haunted house together. And then we are at a decision point on what to do with the windows. So as you're building this, you can decide what it is that you want to do. The instruction sheet here, what it shows is that we're putting in pieces for the top. And that would be a lot of these sides. There's a piece that goes on here. We'll do that and glue it on later. And then there are pieces for the very top. And remember that we double reinforce this in part 1 and 2 so that you can pick it up just from any spot whatsoever, and it's super strong. So you see that we have everything painted black, and I can go through how that is and what I want to do. And then in this piece will fit right here. And then we have a roof that goes on the top. And the roof on the top gets hooked into these braces, which I have just sitting here. Now, as a reminder, we have reinforced the inside using this 1/4 by 1/4 hardwood, and we've put pieces up and down here, and we've put pieces on the side. And then the other thing that we've done, and I can show you with this piece, is you see we've made a little box on the inside. That's not for reinforcement. That's because I plan on putting in Trans-Lite's approach, and that's how we're going to do our haunted house. So I'm going to turn this around, and then I'll show you how the Trans-Lite works. So what I've decided to do with this haunted house is to have lights in the back shine through, that's why the black, and it'll shine through to the front, and then it'll shine through the windows, and then have something called a Trans-Lite, or what I use is vellum. So what I do is I go on the internet and I get different pictures of scary pictures. If you have family Halloween pictures with your family, you can do this too. So you just size it out and you cut the vellum, and which this vellum is easy. I mean, you get it through Amazon, and it doesn't matter which side you use. Now I printed this with, this is laser vellum. They also come with an inkjet vellum. I may switch to that because this has come out a little wavy. It's not super flat, but it may work. So how does that look when you put it into the windows? Okay, so let's use this piece here as an example. And this is actually the very tip top of the whole house. Now, the first thing you're going to see is that there's an opening at the front, and I put some red clear paper through. It's not paper, it's actually some kind of plastic, but I put a red plastic. So when I light this, and I'm going to have to put a light in each side. I have to put a light on this side, and I have to put a light on this side. So when I light this, it'll shine through both here, and when this window goes up, it'll shine through the window. Now, what are we talking about when it comes to putting in the vellum? So here is the vellum. I then cut it out, and I mount it, and I've just got this mounted temporarily. And once it's mounted, then the light will shine through the back, and you'll see, you know, like the ghosts and whatever you decide to put in there. I've got one here of Chucky, you know, all sorts of different things. And I've got some for the family where I'll put family photos in there. So when you have your light kit installed inside, this will light up. Now, then what will happen is this will be covered by a window. And when the window is opened, then you'll be able to see what's behind it, which in this case would be ghosts. When the window's closed, you won't. And I'll cover that. This is more of a close-up of what it looks like with the Translight mounted. And using this strip light, you can turn it on and you see it lights behind, and you can make it brighter or dimmer. You can add different colors. You can make it red, green, blue. And then there's a variety of features where the colors will fade in and out, and it'll go from red to green to blue, fading in, or just clicking in and off. And that's based on this controller that you get with the lights. Again, in a second as well. So that's what we're going to do with the windows, and how we're going to use the vellum and put little pictures in there. Now, the window kit is made up of 3 pieces. You have a plastic piece, and there's one, and you have this front window, and the plastic goes behind the window. It's sized to be just a little bit smaller than the window itself. And then you have a piece that will go across the bottom, which is sort of like a windowsill, and that is this board right here. Now, I actually have a window that I put together, and this is what it looks like. Now, one of the things you'll probably want to do, especially if you're going to put this in and you decide you want to have something shining through behind it, is you don't want this to be clear. You see, this is fairly clear. So there's 2 sides to this plastic. One side is a rough side where you've got these little ghosts and things on it, and the other side is a smooth side. Actually, what you'll want to do is take the rough side and put it on the outside of the window and have the smooth side on the inside. Then you'll want to take all these pieces of plastic like this and lay them out on a table or some newspaper and get some spray. And you can get this at a hardware store. It's a fogging type of spray like you'd put on a bathroom window to make so you can't see through the bathroom window. So you just spray all these, and that will make this so that they're fogged in essence, and you can't see through it. Now you'll be able to see that there's light in here, but you won't be able to see that there's any picture behind it. Now there's 2 things you can do with the windows, and here's your decision point as to what it is that you may want to do yourself. If you want to leave this house as is, then you would mount the windows the way it is here. And I have a detail on the windows as part of this that you can see and what it looks like. It's a close-up of the windows and how they're constructed. Another way is just to take these windows like this and then pop them in. And then when you want to take them out to show the pictures behind it, you take it out. But as I say in the detail, then you've got these floating around that could get lost. I plan on making it so that the windows hinge open like this. How do I plan on doing that? Okay, so my diagram. I've got these straight with the hook, and then I'll have hooks on the windows, and that will go right into these pieces here. You'd be able to lift it out, actually, if you wanted to. But where do I get the hooks from? Well, they're fish hooks. So what I do is I get a set of Eagle fish hooks. And hopefully you can see this. And then I cut the fish hook. And hopefully you can see that, but I cut the fish hook, and then I will mount the fish hook into the side of the window, and then I'll have a piece of wire coming out and down. And I will install the piece of wire right where this line is and right where this bottom line is. So I'll have a little piece of wire coming out. And as thick as the plastic is with the wood, that's not going to be an issue. If you want to leave the house as is, it would be a swing up, then what would you want to put in there? So you could probably put little plastic pieces of ghosts and things. You could put little pieces of candy in there. So you open a window based on a certain date. And when you have the windows in like this, there are window frames that fit on the outside. And on the frame is going to be a number. For example, this frame would fit right here, slide right over. This frame right here has the number 8 on it. So that would be used for the 8th of October. You would lift that one up. So the way it's installed, you put these in, and I show you how to do that in the detail. After these are in, then you put the frame on top. I plan on washing these frames with a white wash to make it look like they were painted white at one time. And then it turns out that because it's a white wash, it's going to look like it's faded. So it's going to look like a haunted house. If you put candy in here, keep it in mind that some of these are fairly deep. So you get a piece of candy fall way in the back and you'd never be able to get it out. If you decide to put candy in, you may actually want to build a little wall inside of here using that 1/8 by 1/8 or 1/4 by 1/4. And then you would build a little frame and then get some pieces of wood like this and then put that in. Remember, what we're using for building on this is that we're using 1/8 by 1/8 balsa, which is real easy to work with. And then this flat siding, which will go up and down the edge here to cover these notches. And then we have some 1/4 by 1/4 hardwood. When you put the shutters on here, I'm keeping the same hinges that came with the kit, that they're going to work fine. I have no need to change that. And if you put swinging windows on, you're going to need, there's little tabs on the side of these windows on each side to fit in this opening. And actually I'm going to take those off. I just have them temporarily glued. I ground those down and so that the tabs are gone, because I'm going to have the swinging windows. I also filled the little spaces in right here. So those are the options of what we want to do. I also am putting in brick, and just to let you know, and that's going to be a separate section. I've decided not to do a wash on this, but instead I'm going to mount in brick. And then once it's on, then I cut out where the windows are. And I'll go into the brick and the size of the paper to use. I use 1/24 scale, not 1/12, because it fits better. And this basically ends section 3. And section 4, or episode 4, I guess you could call it, is going to cover what the windows will look like as I put them together. So as you can see, I obviously, before I can put a lot of this stuff on, including this side and the roof, I have to put my vellum pictures in here. They'll be permanently glued. And when it comes to the lights, what I'm using is LCD tape. And I've got a separate little close-up video, but this is the LCD tape. And I'm going to run it across the back like this. So I've already hollowed out some spaces. And then I'll run it up through here. This is more of a close-up of what it looks like with the Translite mounted. And using this strip light, you can turn it on and you see it lights behind, and you can make it brighter or dimmer. You can add different colors. You can make it red, green, blue, and then there's a variety of features where the colors will fade in and out, and it'll go from red to green to blue, fading in, or just clicking in and off. And that's based on this controller that you get with the lights. Interesting thing is, I was looking to say, how do I get 31 days out of these windows? Because there weren't enough windows. And as I put this together, this is the chimney. This chimney is day 29. And I painted it black on the inside. And I did just a wash on the front to make it look like it's old. And a black wash. And I don't know what I'm going to put in here. It's not going to have room for much because it's so thin. So when I put these up, for example, on the house, how do I light this? I will drill a hole right through here so the light from the room below will shine up through this. So when it's up there, it'll be lit up as well. Same's true for the chimney that's going to go up here. I just drill a hole and light it. And the same is true for the little piece that goes on the very top. That's already got some slats in it, but I have some holes to drill so I can get my light kit to work throughout, and I'll have to play around with that a little. Now here's a close-up of the stock window. The stock window is set up to have little hinges on the side, and the window itself has tabs on it, and these tabs fit into the hinges on the side. So you basically glue in one hinge, fit the window in, put the tab on this side, and then glue this tab in because you can't fit the window on once the tabs are in. One problem with this window, not too bad, but one problem, and it's true with just about all of them, if you look closely, you'll see that you can't open it because the top, and I just pulled that tab out, but the top hits. And so to make this open, what would have to happen is that you would have to take a Dremel tool and you would have to sand this top portion so that the window will pivot open. If that's okay, then you're fine. And then once it's done and the window pivots open, it would look like this. Now, if the window is pivoted open, there's no way to lock it up or lock it against the top. All you would be able to do is lift it up and then it would swing back down into its normal position, like that. A second thing is that could happen is, if you want, is you just take your window, and because it fits in fairly tightly, it generally will lock right into place. It's not super tight, but you could put a little piece of glue on the side so that the window itself locks into place. That way, if you wanted to open the window, you just pull it out and you could put the window and store it someplace, and then you would have this open for whatever you wanted to do on the inside. The only issue with that is once it gets pulled out and it's not attached, then after a year or two, I guarantee that those windows aren't going to be around any longer. That one or two of them will be missing. So I still want to go ahead and use some sort of a hinge on the window so that the window will, when it's in here like this, the window will pivot open and stay open, and that way it can open and close, but it will always stay as part of the house and you won't lose it. That would be my goal. I've started going towards that by, you might notice that I've filled in all these little openings. On the shutter side, I left the openings open because these are going to be used. I'm actually using the hinges that come with the shutters. A little bit. So that's the end of section 3. We'll be back again once we do the windows.